Morning, everyone. It's interesting to talk about free speech and freedom of speech. And, well, Brennan 1776 encapsulates it very well with this observation. Quote, any 12-year-old can access the most degenerate, psychologically and spiritually damaging pornography that's ever been created. But tech oligarchs use their enormous power instead to censor people who quote crime and immigration statistics. And that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting from a lot of angles, but if you just look at the censorship side of things, well, here's an example from today, or November 23rd. Gad Saad tweets, quote, I just lost the ad revenue of 12,000 plus views of my latest sad truth clip because Team YouTube demonetized it right away. It contains zero objectionable content. I'm merely discussing the importance of freedom of speech. And here's how his YouTube channel stats look, right? November 22nd published, 12,986 views, 364 likes, and a 98.1% like ratio. It's interesting because exactly the same thing happens to my videos. Every single one of my videos gets demonetized right away, and that means all of the initial views don't have ads, so I don't make any money. And the reason I monetized my channel in the first place was to see what they demonetized and what they didn't. I just wanted a first-hand account to see what is right speak and what is wrong speak. They use a carrot and stick approach. So the carrot and stick is, the carrot is money. We'll give you money if you talk about things that are approved, that are okay to talk about. And if you don't talk about the things that are okay to talk about, we'll use a stick. We won't give you money. We'll refuse to pay you for anything that goes against what we want you to talk about. That is a carrot and stick approach. And so what happens is you notice that. You notice, oh, when I talk about Islam, I don't get paid every time. Every time I mention Islam, that's a demonetized video. If I talk about freedom of speech or something to the effect of having any kind of common thread, if Islam is also relating to a terrorist attack or something to that effect, all of these words that I'm saying will trigger the demonetization algorithm to demonetize this video. So I already know that, and I do it anyway, but that's the carrot and the stick approach. So the more you talk about things you're not allowed to talk about, the less money you make, right? I made more at 2,000 subscribers than I make now at almost 13. And my channel growth has cratered. YouTube is purposely not putting me in trending when a lot of my likes and view stats should put me there, right? My content is popular. People like it generally, and they used to too, but they used to more. And I made more money back then. So it's really interesting what is being done because it's so insidious. It's invisible, right? Because a lot of creators can't even talk about it. How do you tell people that it's this really, and I don't know what the algorithm says, right? So it's my own trial and error that's gotten me to realize these words are blacklisted. These topics I can't talk about unless I want to not make money. And I'm lucky in that this isn't my job, right? Like I have a job outside of this that I enjoy and this is a hobby for me. So that's wonderful that I don't rely on this to put food on my family's table. But there are a lot of people who do. And this censorship matters. There are people who are less popular than me that make their entire living on YouTube because they talk about the right things and they make more money than me, but not by a lot, right? They have more subscribers, but they make a bit more money than me, or less subscribers and they make more money because whatever, because the first 1,000 or 2,000 views of their videos aren't being demonetized while YouTube checks how valid or checks if it's right think, right? That's what happens. So it's really interesting and worth it for you to know. I think it's important that you know that because that's how the world is shaped. And I mean, Jeepers Creepers, the CBC has direct control. They just say, no, you don't talk about that. Like there's no soft and hard carrot and stick. It's if you talk about this, you'll get fired. So that's the carrot and stick. You want to keep your job? Yeah. Talk about this instead. Yeah. But here's a CBC News article. Moving on from the censorship, which is a huge problem. And I mean, don't even get me started on the pornography. Like that is, if you are not paying directly for something, right? You have to pay to go to see the movies. You have to pay for your cable subscription, except for the fact that they give you ads. You have to pay for Netflix, right? But pornography you can access completely for free. That's interesting. If you don't have to pay for something like Facebook and Twitter, you are the product. You're being sold. And on Facebook and Twitter, the eyeball time is what they're selling. They're saying we can get ads in front of these people, right? And if they come to a company and say, do you want your ads in front of these people? Look at how long they look at our screens. That's valuable. But is that the same motivator for pornography? I don't know. And why is it completely acceptable when we know that there is a big downside, right? I mean, just like drinking, pornography seems to be celebrated these days, right? The hypersexualization of women and the pornographization of women. I'm not entirely sure of that. I haven't done a lot of reading into it. I'm just commenting on what I'm seeing. I walk around the mall. I look at music videos, and it's not about playing musical instruments to crowds of people anymore. It's about, and when I was growing up too, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't miss Britney Spears, right? Like, I understand the sexualization happened when I was in high school as well. I get that. But what I'm saying is it's been turned up a notch or two since then. And I don't know that it was acceptable then. So is all of that okay? I don't know. It's just interesting to note, right? Like, you walk around the mall and you look around at this stuff and think, man, like, is this completely normal? Can humans walk around and see that and carry on with their day as if everything's fine? And I mean, look around. People are more depressed than ever, more anxious than ever. There's more violence than, I mean, just in Toronto, right? And everybody seems to think there's nothing we can do about it. Absolutely. Better do nothing because nothing's working. It seems weird, right? Okay, so moving on to politics news. CBC News is reporting. Group of premiers band together to develop nuclear reactor technology. The premiers of Ontario, Saskatchewan, and New Brunswick have committed to collaborate on developing nuclear reactor technology in Canada. Doug Ford, Scott Moe, and Blaine Higgs made the announcement and signed a memorandum of understanding on Sunday in advance of a meeting of all the premiers. They will be working on the research, development, and building of small modular reactors, SMRs, as a way to help their individual provinces reduce carbon emissions and move away from non-renewable energy sources like coal. Small modular reactors are easy to construct, are safer than large reactors, and are regarded as cleaner energy than coal, the premiers say. They can be small enough to fit in a school gym. In a school gym. Do you know they built the Home Alone set in a school gym? There's a new series on Netflix talking about the movies that made us. Check it out. It's really cool. Okay, back to the article. Ford lauds economic possibilities. The provincial leaders said it could be an opportunity for economic growth, estimating the Canadian market for this energy at $10 billion and the global market at $150 billion. Ford called it an opportunity for Canada to be a true leader at a time when Ottawa and the provinces are at odds. Higgs said it's the perfect time to show unity. It's showing how provinces can come together on issues of the future. No other premiers have signed on to the deal at this point, but Ford said all are welcome and the more the merrier. But developing new energy technologies is a daunting task. Higgs admitted the project will need national support of some kind, though he didn't specify what. The agreement signed by the premiers is also non-binding. Also, about 8.6%. 8.6% of Canada's electricity comes from coal-fired generation. In New Brunswick, that figure is much higher, 15.8%, and New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgs has said he worries about his province's energy producers being hit by the federal carbon tax. So I'm going to pause here. And actually, in New Brunswick, the Belledune, I believe, coal station was exempt from the carbon tax. They have to pay like $1 in carbon tax fees. So I don't know why Higgs is bringing that up. That was settled in like 2017 or beginning of 2018, one or the other. It's really... Anyway, that's really strange. Here is the coal consumption from the BP report, the BP Statistical Review of World Energy Report, coal consumption by country. Okay, this is megatons per year. China is at 19,007 megatons per year. India is at 452 megatons per year. USA is at 317. Canada's at 14. Canada's at 14. So, I mean, maybe it's a good idea to develop this technology and export it, but it seems weird to focus taxpayer money on supporting a plan that is going to reduce Canada from 14 to what, 10 or 0? You know, we're going to drop into the all other category. And China, here's Unearthed. This is a Greenpeace blog, a Greenpeace news thing, I guess. It says China's power industry calls for hundreds of new coal power plants by 2030. I'm just scrolling down here to the meat of the article. It says the target is for the country's coal-fired capacity to continue to grow until peaking in 2030. The cap would enable China to build 2 large coal power stations a month for the next 12 years and grow the country's capacity by an amount nearly twice the size of Europe's total coal capacity. So we're going to double Europe at least. We're going to at least double Europe. And that'll fix climate change. You guys want to sell us some reactors? Sure, why not? Have China build the reactors. Yeah, right? We're doing that with the light natural gas, the LNG pipeline, where all of it will be constructed in China and then put together in Canada. Who needs Canadian jobs? We're building the world on our taxpayer backs. So frustrating. The last frustrating story for the day is, and I'm not going to play this clip, but this clip is just ridiculous. This is Ron MacLean saying, being exacerbated at how white and racist hockey is. And I just have to completely disagree with Mr. MacLean. Like, this is the furthest thing from the truth. Nobody speaks about basketball players or NFL players, football players, and problematic ratios of race. Nobody's talking about not enough Asians in football. Nobody's talking about not enough Asians in basketball, right? Or any other race. But that's happening in hockey. Why? Again, sports is something that is the proof's in the pudding. You're either good at basketball or hockey or soccer or golf, or you're not. And the best person putting the little ball in the hole, that person is going to get a contract. That person is going to be held up as the best person, whether they're black or Asian or white or doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Any skin color, it's about the ability. And all of this falling all over ourselves to say how terrible white people are is offensive and off-putting. Hockey night in Canada, you fail. Like, my goodness, I used to enjoy hockey. I am not going to give any more money to this corrupt, ridiculous organization. Get off your woke bandwagon. It's ridiculous. Sick and tired of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to destroy the institutions that people like. I don't know what this woke culture is trying to accomplish. But if you try and insert into sports a way to make everybody equal, you're going to destroy the sport. That's it. Period. And this attack on white people is just shocking, right? There are other examples. There's a black musician who is refusing to play for all white crowds. Can you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? Like, apparently the game now is it's okay to be racist against white people and everybody else, that's not racism. It's so crazy. Like, what happened? What happened that this is acceptable? I'm going to go find that tweet. Hold on. Here it is. Uprocks. I don't know who Uprocks is. At NoName says she is done touring and will no longer perform for predominantly white crowds. Put the shoe on the other foot. If there was a white artist who said, I'm not going to perform for predominantly black crowds, how would that be okay? Why is this one okay? I don't know. It doesn't seem okay to me. And that's the point. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out CanadaPoly.com and have a wonderful, wonderful